Well, welcome back, viewers. It's James Kalm, your half-assed reporter, the guy on the bike. And we're going to try to run into Galerie Richard and check out a show titled Color Matters. I popped in for the opening Friday night. Hello. It was a little crowded, but well, I was intrigued with the premise of the show, so I thought I would come back and bring you viewers along for a little stroll through. We'll start up here at the east end of the gallery and look at a group of paintings by our old friend Dennis Hollingsworth. You can go back, I think it was on the rough cuts about 2 or 3 months ago at the beginning of the summer, and we went out and paid a visit to Dennis at his studio in the Gowanus area, or maybe it's Sunset Park in Brooklyn. This piece is titled Phenomenal Wrinkles 2014, 40 by 30 inches, oil on canvas over wood panel. Well, I'm a fan of Dennis's work. I've probably been looking at it for about 8 or 9 years by now, and we actually discussed, this is titled Breathing City, we discussed a little bit of my contention that there is a group of California artists now who are working at some pretty heavy painting, thick painting. And although I think Dennis has been living in New York now for about 5 or 6 years, he did spend probably 15 years of his formative career out there in LA. Anyway, this is all oil paint. And well, Dennis has got some pretty interesting techniques that he uses. It's titled Minerva's Serpent. I really like this piece. This is 2015. I was commenting when I came in Friday that I think all of these pieces are 2 or 3 years old at this point, but part of that is they take a couple of years to dry, and well, Dennis has a very it's like a architectural or an engineering approach to his work. So all the oil paint is straight out of the tube. He doesn't mix it up with dryers or anything, and he makes it a point to kind of almost test test the properties of these manufactured pigments. This is another nice one. I like the colors he's got going here. This is titled Limitlessness and a Strange Desire, 2015, 48 by 36. Okay, we don't have any of his text pieces, but if you go back and check out the studio visit, he also does, you can see areas here where he's cut stencils and applied the paint through the cut masking tape. He also does text like that. Okay, we'll keep moving along. This is Carl Fudge. I think Carl had a one-man show here last month. Maybe was part of a two-person exhibition here. This is display number 1, 2018. A unique screen print. One of the things that I thought was interesting about the show is that this is some of the most contemporary abstract painting, and this is display number 3. A lot of it has a very kind of formalistic approach. It's display number 5. Now, they talk about these as unique screen prints, so I wonder if he's got a couple of screens that he then goes back and squeegees in various colors on these and doesn't repeat things and plays around. Maybe does a lot of layers, I'm not sure. It's number 6. These are all 20 by 20 and a half. Actually, I missed Carl's show. I've seen a lot of his work before. He's a wonderful painter as well. And this is probably a kind of an interesting subcategory of his work. It's number 10. It's display number 7. Okay, we'll look at these. These works are by Koen Delaere, Koen Delaere. This is titled Sleeper, 71 by 49 inches, oil and acrylic on canvas. And I think this kind of carries along the theme of the show I was talking about, which it's not only about formalistic abstraction in a visual form, but also kind of the materialistic end of the painting spectrum. So a lot of these artists are kind of using techniques and materials that are interesting, experimental. I think there's a lot of some kind of gel he's using there. This is Topanga, 2018. I wonder if that's a reference to Topanga Canyon for all you LA art heads. 71 by 49 inches, oil and acrylic on canvas. And we've got our hot fluorescence. Actually, this is also kind of interesting, the way that got a very dry fluorescent, and then these kind of combed in ridges, some kind of very glossy gel. It's titled Sea Breath. .84.5 by 59 inches. Oil acrylic on canvas. Well, I'll just make a kind of a quick analysis of what he's doing here. So we're using this, I think it's probably acrylic that he builds up these ridges. Kind of it's like a combed in texture, and then and I've got a pretty good basic stripe composition, and he's splashing in much more freely and spontaneously these overlaying skeins of color and splatter. I'm going to look at this group of little smaller paintings by Noriko Mizokawa. These are all acrylic on canvas, 40 by 22 inches. And, okay, so we've got some kind of pearlescent in there in the white. Also, and these somehow have the characteristic of a Photoshop, kind of a screen drawing. This is The Origin of the World, number 13. I guess these are all part of a series titled The Origin of the World. I think in another way, these are kind of the opposite end of the surface quality that we've been looking at. These are all very flat. Origin of the World 10-001. This is Origin of the World number 12-001. Acrylic, 40 by 22 inches. Okay, and then we've got, in each one of them we've got kind of like a squirrely line of rainbow fades. So it kind of makes me think of strands of DNA, maybe. It's a group of works by Joseph Nechvatal. Nechvatal. I've been seeing Joseph's work since the East Village days. And I think he kind of burst on the scene doing a lot of work dealing with some of the earliest computer-generated paintings. This is titled Gallant Telemachus in Flagrate, 2014, computer robotic assisted acrylic on velour. And well, as I remember, I saw some of his early work, and he was just doing other computer-assisted works, but there was layers and layers and layers of slightly degraded images that he would seem to be repeating, and would kind of build up like a Jackson Pollock painting. titled Vexed Telemachus Adrift 2014. It's also computer robotic assisted acrylic on velour. And also, this is also the flat end of the spectrum. This is titled Return of Lazarus, Sublimation 2017, 48 by 60. Now maybe if you look at this slowly and contemplate it, you can start to see some kind of figuration or some kind of narrative elements maybe coming out. And as you get a little closer, you can start to see the grids. It would be interesting to kind of know where he starts. I think that these images somehow, or maybe screen grabs or something that he then repeats and kind of runs through the ghost of the machine. This is titled Return of Lazarus Expedition 2017, 48 by 60. And there is kind of a little central ghost figure or phantom figure, seems to be kind of drifting in the center of these. I think Joseph also does a lot of writing. I think I've seen some of his dispatches from Paris, maybe? These are 4 pieces by Jaime Martinez. I think Jaime also runs a little space out at 56 Bogart Street titled Border. It's titled Circus Smile 2018, 30 by 30 oil on canvas. Kind of like this Nouveau Cubism. It's titled Bright. 2018, 26 by 34 inches. Oil on canvas. This is Dimensions, 24 by 24. Actually, I like this one. It's a little more congested. Looks like Jaime has got a little more obsessed with breaking down his forms. And I like the reference to some of the classical cubism. Yeah, Delaere from 1913-14. This is Tension, 36 by 36. Oil on canvas. Yeah, also I like that he doesn't get too finicky. He's kind of get in and get out. Don't get too bogged down. Now we've got a nice suite of pieces by Young-Hun. This is P1803, Electronic Nostalgia. Oil on canvas 63 and 3/4 by 44 and 7/8. Now, okay. This is an interesting technique, and it's like he's got these repeated, almost geological striations that he's built in here. And I like the palette, kind of punchy and electric. This is P1817 Electronic Nostalgia, 2018, 51 by 63. For some reason, this kind of reads as a landscape, and like I said, I like these kind of repeated variegations, and I'm wondering if he does this with some kind of a broad, flat brush. But then he's also put in these more geometric chunks of nice overlaid color patches. And yeah, it's nice to note the kind of the different readings of space that you get between the kind of these hard edge geometric forms and the more ethereal cloud-like forms. P1776, Electric Nostalgia 2017, 31 by 51. Now, okay, so these are all vertical stripes. And it does give you a little, well, actually it's a much different reading of the flow of the composition. And I think Kim has got a pretty good color sense, and I think he's actually very good at mixing in his various shades of gray. Okay, we're going to wrap up this run through Color Matters, looking at this Electric Nostalgia. This is P1814 by Young-Hun, 63 by 44. Yeah, I was thinking that somehow these kinds of squiggly lines make me think of a geode that's been cut open. It's an interesting kind of stone with crystals on the inside. So that's been a run through of Color Matters here at Galerie Richard, 121 Orchard Street on the Lower East Side. Well, we're here in northeastern Williamsburg on Norman Avenue, and we're going to drop in here to Auxilary Projects and take a little stroll through an exhibition by Sarada Rauch titled In the Realm of a Dying Star. Okay. This is a series of videos in rotation. One is Boomerang, Fuck It Plateau, Second Law of Thermodynamics, Toppy, and Gravity.
Swipe with my pen and imagine punching like a suture on the screen with these hands. Burning towards something you can't even see on the horizon.
Okay.
Screen is my window, I push up against it, I push up against it. La, 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 Screen is my window, I sit here, do nothing, and watch the world explode. Spice feels light, I feel impotent. This one perspective was just like a movie on screen.
This is what it feels like in the end.
Originally from Kansas City. Okay. I've been at it.
And now we're on Johnson Avenue in Bushwick. We're gonna run into Clearing. And we're gonna look at an exhibition of paintings by Sebastian Black. Self-portrait as a good boy. Okay. Let's start here. It's titled Machine for Looking at Me. Oil on linen. 18.5 by 24 inches. So this entire series is all a bunch of small paintings. 18 by 24, that's a pretty standard size. You can go into any arts and crafts shop and get your 18 by 24 inch canvases. And these pieces are all oil. There's about 35 of these, so I'm not going to get up and maybe give you the titles and everything on all of them, but we're going to take a leisurely stroll through and look at some of them. I caught one of Sebastian's show here at Clearing probably 3 years ago, some of the large paintings. And well, I like his work. I like the flat areas of color. And well, as you can see, as we progress through this show, he's got a certain alphabet of forms, an index of forms that he goes back to. It's got his circles and triangles, kind of swooping, connecting lines. Oh, I kind of like the color on this one. This is Machine for the Public. I guess these are all machines. Machine for God, that is. You know, he has such a consistent group of elements that when he kind of departs from his format, it's maybe more notable than when he sticks with it. Machine for making 2 small holes in a wall. Well, I think one of the nice things about working like this, kind of having a stack of canvases, they're all the same size, they're all primed and ready to go, is that you can be a lot looser and freer with your works on each one of these. This is Machine for No. Machine for Motives. The other thing is that if you're working like this, you don't really have time to get too worried about or too obsessed with any particular individual piece. You can kind of think about them more as a grouping. I like the colors on that one too. And I think Sebastian's actually a pretty good colorist, using a lot of nice tertiary and just slightly opposite keyed colors. So you've got a green that sort of turns towards the cool, as opposed to greens that's turning a little more towards the warm. Light against dark. That's Machine for Ethics. Machine for Hysteria. Yeah, and there's a lot of pedimetti coming through. We've got our pencil lines. Machine for Liam Gillick, 2018. Yeah, interesting how you got this black circle nice flat saturated black, and then this one is a little more brushy, broken up. So that dark brown with the black is nice. There's a lot of very subtle variations in tone and hue. Machine for edges. Okay, that's interesting. We've got that little strip on the edge there. Can't be more than 1/8 of an inch thick. One on that edge too. Machine for competitive knowing. I like the cobalt blues. Machine for Her, 2018. Okay, so this is great. We've got an entire spectrum of the green aquas, and then we've got kind of the violet blue cobalts on this side. Machine for jangling your eyes. Okay, like this one, we got just basically grays and ochres and blacks, off-whites, dirty whites. Machine for finding new music. That was called Spotify. Yeah, that's nice. Kind of the pale salmon into the vermilion, into a kind of a peachy color. Also, he's got these portfolios on plinths. Self-Portrait as a Good Boy, number 4. Watercolor by Richard Chenoweth, Chase Bank, slip. Handbound portfolio acetate. Okay, so I've got several of those. Oh, the watercolors are nice. Self-Portrait as a Good Boy, 1, 2018, watercolor by Richard Chenoweth. And your Chase Bank slip. Okay. We got one more. Self-Portrait as a Good Boy, number 5, 2018. Also by Richard Chenoweth with a bank slip. Handbound. Okay, there's our conceptual end of the show. Okay, we'll continue our stroll. Machine for the forming of mutually beneficial partnership between the private and the public. Okay, seems like the titles are getting more lengthy and exaggerated as we move through the collection here. Machine for the buffalo hunt. Oh, this is punchy. Machine for red. This has an oddly phallic feel to it. Machine for Freedom. Machine for the Capable. Yeah, I think there are certain similarities between this kind of work and a whole group of what's called the biomorphic abstraction movement. It's kind of an offshoot of surrealism, an abstract version of surrealism, using biomorphic forms. Machine for the Gothic Line. Okay, we're gonna move through here fast because it's closing time. Machine for Respecting You Better. Actually, I like this. We've got the left-hand side, which has got the red, yellow, blue, green, black, and this side and I like the contrast, the high key color versus the dark saturated colors. I guess a lot of these are, maybe all of them are divided in half basically, and then we're kind of playing with those contrasts between the left and the right hand side and the light versus dark. It's Machine for Charity. Oh man, a lot of machines. Machine for the Teenage Soul. Well, you know, the minimalists were big on the idea of working serially, having a particular format and then just repeating it again and again. I think they might have gotten that idea from Warhol. This is a little more individualistic as far as each one of these pieces goes, but there is a kind of production line sense to this when you're working on, like you said, about 35 of these, all the same basic size, a lot of similar formats that you share. There's a lot of jokes here. This is a machine for being a curator. The other thing, when you have to work fast, you don't have time to clean up all your fudges, all your flubs. This isn't one of the more unusual pieces. Machine for Distinction. And again, this is the grayed out tones. We've got kind of the warm side here, and this side is the cool side. And also, I like the white circles. Just about done. Machine for Lisbon. Machine leaving the middle class. We're going to wrap up looking at Machine for Spritz. Yeah, let's make me think of 1950s abstraction. James Kalm reporting on Self-Portrait is a Good Boy, an exhibition of new works by Sebastian Black here at Clearing in Bushwick. You can like this, share, subscribe, recommend it to your friends, and you can leave your thoughts, ideas, criticisms, critiques, reviews below. But most importantly, we ask you to thank you, Kate. Oh, thank you. Thank you.